answer. Okay, so we're now into the question and answer portion. So you may want to answer, you may want to ask questions related to this topic, or you may have some questions from the previous sessions. This is where you really get the benefit, because you can actually get some training on, I think, Yellow Belt in YouTube. If you are really resourceful, you can find it. But I think this is where I can add value in the question and answer. So Karen, you were raising your hand. Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Jodel. I have a question and then a comment. So the first one, yung question, what did you do with your value stream model dun sa hospital? Did you give it to them? I'm just curious. Did you submit to them that? Because it's a form of a complaint, eh.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me, but they had the form, but I don't know VSM or anything, no. But they had they asked us to fill out a form, and I was so detailed. Kasi
okay, that's a good question. Actually, I didn't. I mean, it's probably because I have so many things on my mind. But I thought at the time, going through the pain, I thought of mapping it, and I think that the next 2 weeks I was supposed to give a Lean Six Sigma training, and that was the first thing that came to mind. Okay, I'm gonna reflect what I've undergone and the value stream map. But definitely in the future, if I get to have a client in the hospital industry, then I can easily give them this, this tool.
yes, because nakarelate kasi ako, and it's very useful when I saw your model. And then because it happened to me, but yun, mas assertive lang siguro ako. I would have given it to them.
You should.
Anyway.
Was it a private was it a private hospital or a public hospital?
Private hospital siya. Yeah, and both the check-in and the check-out. I was asked to almost stay another night sa check-out din, but I didn't. I said no kasi additional bayad siya, additional bayad siya. So
yes.
So I understood when you said it was very upsetting. It is very upsetting. Ikaw yung may sakit, and then to think na madadagdagan pa yung babayaran. So but I got my way. So I was able to check out on the day that I was supposed to check out. So hindi ako naka-extend, but still it took too long, and even yung check-in, it took almost the whole day. So sabi ko, it's a private hospital, pero parang anyway. So it would have been very useful. I could have given it to them kahit they won't be asking for it, kasi it can actually help them. So to their advantage pa yun sana. Pero mas maganda kung visual kasi siya, di ba? So
yeah. So I think if you still have this data, Karen, I really suggest, it might be helpful to give to the hospital. Siguro din ang mindset ko at that time, ang default ko was, I was maybe, despite the complaint, I was really thankful in a way, kasi napasok pa rin yung mom ko sa hospital despite na matagal ang queue. I know with all the challenges, and at the time yung tocilizumab, I don't know if I'm quoting the name of the medicine. At the time, nakukuha pa namin siya available. If my mom had been confined a month after, that would really have been a struggle. So I guess maybe despite the complaints, I guess siguro ng time na yon, I was more thankful that we survived the ordeal, but I just documented that experience. But yeah, maybe if this is a way for other people to have a reference as a tool, then by all means you can use that to show to the hospitals. Maybe they can improve their process.
Yeah, thank you. And I saw.
Yep. Any questions? Other questions from the group?
Mayroon lang akong comment, Joda.
Sure.
Sorry. So you mentioned change management system. So now I can na-realize ko, now I can relate, because when I was as a software engineer, we used to have that, and then I wondered what is the purpose. Kasi sabi ko, we know what we're doing. And then may document pa, may pre-document, may blah blah blah, and then so when we were trained, like when you do it, you do it from start to finish. So I've been doing that, and then meron talagang like change management system who did the changes. Not just that. You have to write down the manager's name, the TL's name, the everything's name. So I thought it was overkill, but then I realized tama siya. So that meron, you can, what if a problem happens? And it did happen. It did happen. Pero, but for me, hindi dapat yung coder yung mabiblame because they skipped so many steps. A very simple step, test the code. They didn't do it. The team lead didn't do it. Whoever the on-site team leader didn't do it. The client manager didn't do it. But you know who took the blame? The coder. So tama yung CMS because they signed off, but they didn't do it, right? Okay na yung code, pero hindi pala tinest. But then again, it was not, I think, I just felt that unfair dun sa coder. He was a newbie. Yung mistake niya was, hindi mo akalaing magiging mistake, but he was still blamed for it anyway. So maganda yung CMS, but I think in that situation dun sa company namin when that happened, I think it wasn't applied ng tama na na-discover yung error, but the wrong person took the fall for it. So sayang lang. Anyway, comment lang naman yun.
Yep. I really appreciate you sharing that input because sometimes there are things that we don't appreciate, but when we put a perspective on this one, it gives you that aha moment. Oh, now I know what's the reason for this one. I also came from that experience where sometimes I was thinking, ano ba tong purpose itong change management system? But once you are in a position, that you are managing that, that system, then it makes sense. And I guess it's always a learning experience. So sometimes it takes one disaster or failure that makes you really review your process and review it. So the thing is, there really has to be a continuous mindset, but at the same time there also has to be accountability. Kawawa naman pala yung case ng coder na siyang nag-take ng fall when in fact there were systems, there were checkpoints in place na hindi lang nagawa. Okay? So I guess with that incident, probably it's time to review the FMEA because something did go wrong and they have to look at it from a way of how do we prevent this thing from happening again. Parang dapat required sa managers na meron at least yellow belt before moving from. Yes, actually, that's a good point, Jonas. In fact, when I was in GE before, you as a supervisor, you cannot be promoted if you don't undergo green belt training. For me, actually, green belt was a bit overkill, but I guess yes, it's really helpful when at the minimum you have a yellow belt experience. By the way, the YouTube channel, feel free to share that to your close friends, people that you think can benefit from the yellow belt tools that we're discussing. Okay, other questions?
Sir Jodel, yung fishbone tsaka Five Wise, di ba ano siya, nakukuha siya sa pagbe-brainstorming. So
Yes.
group of people siya na nagbe-brainstorming. May mga math ba yun or brainstorming lang talaga siya? As in parang mga sticky notes na nilalagay-lagay ganun.
That's a good question. So sa yellow belt, expectation lang is sticky notes, okay? Sticky notes when you do the brainstorming. If you really have to be strict about it, when you go to green belt, especially if you have limited time, you will have to challenge, let's say you have identified 10 factors and you can only test 3. So the math part can be in the determining which out of the 10, which one are you going to focus on. Another one, if you have sophisticated tools, you can actually run statistical tests of hypothesis just to test that does A impact B, and then you run the test and then get the results. That's the math. That's the math part. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
And also as a note, I read somewhere in an article that mas effective daw kapag yung brainstorming is done individually first. Okay, so brainstorm ka and then share it to the team. So, that's a perspective that you may want to consider. If you're a freelancer, I'm hoping well, for a freelancer, normally ang brainstorming mo ikaw lang, kung ikaw if just you're running your own business, so you can do your own brainstorming individually. Okay, other questions? Wala na? Glenn, may question ka pa? Or Karen? Karen?
I'm good.
All good? Okay,
All
so
good.
if no more question, I wish you all the best. Enjoy the weekend, and then I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.